Hi, I'm Justin Dottavi, and welcome to Film Don't Lie, part of Saturday Blitz's College Football's fifth quarter series. You can find me on IronmanFootballBlog.com at IMFB_BLOG. Those are probably the best places to look. So we're going to start talking about the fact that spring football is underway. It's here. And the biggest date in spring football seems like it's April 14th, and that's when you're going to see Miami, Ohio State, Oklahoma, USC, Michigan, Clemson, Florida, Florida State, Texas A&M, Virginia Tech, Stanford Navy, and Arizona all playing out, their spring games. And pretty much the biggest topic of this spring are quarterback position battles or quarterback battles. We're looking at out of that entire list of big name programs, the only one that really has lockdown quarterbacks are Josh Jackson, Virginia Tech, and Khalil Tate over at Arizona. But in Arizona, you do have Kevin Sumlin coming in as a new football coach, and of those teams, you've got a new coach at Florida State, and Texas A&M as well. So new coaches to see, new quarterbacks. We're going to see exactly what scheme these guys decide to run. That being said, I'm going to take a look at 5 different quarterback battles that I find intriguing heading into this. And the reason why UCLA is, and we're going to go west to east, the reason why UCLA is on this list is because it's not only a new quarterback, Josh Rosen heading off the NFL, but it's also a new head coach, and it's Chip Kelly, and we're all excited about him being down in LA, getting to use that Southern California talent that he was poaching up at Oregon. And he's got Devin Modster on campus, and this guy is 6'2", 210-pound redshirt sophomore, 4-star from California. He sat behind Rosen, but he got to play. He threw for 600 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, had a great bowl game, Cactus Bowl against Kansas State, threw for 295 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. But Modster, he's not alone on campus. There's a slew of other guys, but also, Chip Kelly brought in his own freshman, and that's a hard thing to beat out. And Chip Kelly's played freshmen before, at least inexperienced guys, and I don't see him having a problem doing that here either. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson is the 36th ranked player in the entire class of 2018. He's a 4-star. He's at a Bishop Gorman, and Bishop Gorman has been producing big-time quarterbacks. 3,200 passing yards, 38 to 3 touchdown interception ratio, 7 touchdowns on the ground. He is a dual threat guy. And Monster's not exactly slow, but he's not really a dual threat. He's more in a Rosen, get a few yards and get down mentality. He's not an early enrollee, though, and that's going to hurt him a lot. And, Chip Kelly, he's used quarterbacks of all shapes and sizes. Dixon was a little more on the lanky side at 6'3". He was a number 2 dual threat in his class. He had Duron Thomas. You had Mazzoli. He was like a bowling ball, a 5'10", 230-pounder, ran well. Chip Kelly has really used guys of all shapes and sizes and abilities to run his offense, and then the NFL totally took shape depending on who was there. So I'm between the Eagles and the Niners. So I'm not sure if he needs a guy that's 100% dual threat. I think he'd like it, but I could see Devin Modster. He's going to win this battle. The Texas Longhorns are, Tom Herman's there, and God knows he's no stranger to quarterback controversy. As Ohio State ran through 3 guys when he was there for the 2014 championship team. Sam Ehlinger and Shane Buechele are going to be the 2. And Ehlinger is a sophomore. He started 6 games for the Longhorns in 2017, had 1,900 passing yards, and ran for 381 yards. I think Tom Herman is going to want a guy who can take off and run. He's got NFL size, 6'2", 230, only 7 yards per attempt, but he was a freshman. He played 9 games overall, and he's an Austin local. Shane Buechele is a junior. He started 7 games last year. He's 21 total appearances in the game, which gives him a nice amount of experience. 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. So a little more turnover happy than Ehlinger was. And he's a Arlington, Texas guy, which isn't from far away. So he's a former 4-star as well. So it's kind of interesting to see which guy Tom Herman really relies on. The junior who probably will transfer after the spring if he doesn't win a job. And then do you lure that into fall camp and try to keep him where the transfer window is sort of closed, or with Ehlinger, a little bit younger of a guy, but he looks like a pretty explosive athlete. They've also signed 2 4-star guys in Cameron Rising and Casey Thompson, but I can't see those 2 guys beating out 2 experienced veterans like this. And I think Ehlinger is the guy who's going to get the nod for Texas. Okay, the Ohio State Buckeyes up in Columbus, Ohio. Urban Meyer's got himself first time he needs a new quarterback since that whole controversy surrounding the 2014 championship season and the year after, bouncing between Jones and J.T. Barrett. So Barrett had kind of took over the job, and now he's off in the NFL. And you're looking at Dwayne Haskins Jr. as being the front runner, in my opinion. 6'3", 215-pound 4-star from Maryland. He played in 8 games, and he also replaced Barrett against Michigan. And, I was there in the crowd watching him dice him up 6 for 7 for 94 yards, 8 yards per carry, 9.91 yards per attempt on the season, passing 4 touchdowns. The guy came in against Don Brown's defense and lit him up, carved him up. fans were going crazy. So I can see how he's going to have a huge advantage over Tate Martell's 5'11", 205 out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. He played in front of Dorian Thompson-Robinson, though, the UCLA recruit we already talked about. So he's a dual threat. He's a redshirt guy. He's got experience there. And then Joe Burrow, 6'2", 215 at Athens High School in Ohio, another four-star guy. Played in 4 games in 2017, but he looked better in 2016, where he threw for 8 yards per attempt versus 2017 with 5.5 yards per attempt. So Burrow seems like he's on the downturn. Martell's in the middle. I think it's Haskins Jr.'s job to lose. I think he's got the clear leg up, having torn apart Michigan. Fans are going to want him. I think he fits in a mold of what Urban Meyer and Kevin Wilson are going to want as a quarterback, and I think he'll step right in for JT, and he'll be able to really compete. And this is an Ohio State team that has to win now. UCLA's got a little bit of a window. Texas has a little bit of a window. Texas needs to win 9-10 games. UCLA needs to win 8 or 9. Ohio State needs to be in the Final Four. So, and that's just the pressure Meyer's put himself with top 5 recruiting classes, top 2 and 3 recruiting classes even, and the fact that, he's won a national championship and had another undefeated season there when they were on a bowl ban. So that's the pressure he's put on himself. The Clemson Tigers, Alabama Crimson Tide, as we head out east, are next. Tua Tagovailoa versus Jalen Hurts. Tua is a 5-star QB from Hawaii. We've all heard about him, right? He was 32 overall in 2017 class. Threw the dang game winner against Georgia Bulldogs in overtime as a true freshman. Just guts, glory, stand in there and deliver. He's banged his hand up a little bit this spring so far, but Nick Saban was smart, right? He did the opposite of what Mark Richt did in Miami, which is, Saban gave this guy mop-up duty time. 600 yards, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns. The guy could step in an overtime game. He had confidence. He played. He was preparing, and, he threw the ball. And so, he threw that ball, and it was a touchdown, and that's what you do. Then you have Jalen Hurts. This is a 4-star guy in 2016 from Channelview, Texas. Jalen led Bama to the national title game and lost in 2016, only to win in 2017. This guy's thrown for 4,800 yards, 40 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 1,800 rushing yards, 21 touchdowns. He's a touchdown machine. He's a winner. The guy's lost 2 games in his entire career so far, one to Auburn and the game to Clemson, the championship. So he is definitely a winner. He's a guy that you can rely on. I think if Lane Kiffin was here, he would still be the guy. But I think what Mike Locksley's looking to do, I think Tua is going to win the job. Now you're looking at Clemson Tigers, and we know Dabo likes his experienced quarterbacks. Coach Sweeney wanted an experienced quarterback. That's when he did his best with Deshaun Watson, losing in 2015, winning 2016 with experienced quarterback in Watson. And I think, Kelly Bryant is going to be the guy. At least they're going to give him, a first loss sort of thing. Bryant's 6'3", 220. He's a big body. He's a former 3-star guy, 2,800 passing yards, 13 touchdowns. But he had 8 interceptions, 600 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns. So he gives him that extra dynamic to really be a true dual threat guy with the body to take the punishment. The only loss that he had as a starter was when he was knocked out of the game until the semifinals. So the Syracuse game, he was knocked out of the game, taken out of the game, and they lost. And then they lost the semifinal to Alabama, the eventual champion. You can't fault the guy for losing a semifinal game or a game that he wasn't, in anymore. Kind of a Malik Rozier situation where, the more the shoulder got banged up, the more the accuracy came off. Tim Tebow had that same problem. There's Hunter Johnson. He played in 4 games in 2017. He was the 30th overall player in 2017 class. He's a 5-star guy. He's got tons of talent. And so does Trevor Lawrence, who was, arguably the number 1 overall player in 2018. He's a 5-star. He's an early enrollee. It was that back-and-forth battle with Justin Fields, who went to Georgia for who was the best quarterback in the country and the best overall player. So they go with the true freshman. They go with Johnson, who got some playing time. Or do they stick with Kelly Bryant, the veteran, and let him do his thing? We're going to find that out. Now it's time for a quarterback battle lightning round. You have Oklahoma with Kyler Murray. He's playing baseball right now as well. And, he's a transfer, from Texas A&M. And, he's a former 5-star guy. Could see competition from Austin Kendall, a former 4-star guy. Kendall's a junior. Murray's splitting time between baseball and football right now, but I think Murray's going to get the nod. USC's got that very young kid, JT Daniels, a 2018 kid that reclassified from 1918. He's a guy who threw 52 touchdowns in 2017, but can you handle the Los Angeles pressure at such a young age? Michigan's got a real mess. Shea Patterson still hasn't been deemed eligible. Will Wilton Speight really transfer? Is he going to stay? No one's really quite sure. The guy threw 17 touchdowns for the Rebels before being injured. We'll see what happens with that battle. But there's also Dylan McCaffrey, and there's also Brandon Peters, who looked really good in his limited duty in Ann Arbor. Nebraska has Scott Frost coming in. He has sophomore Patrick O'Brien, redshirt freshman Tristan Gebbia, and true freshman Adrian Martinez. What will Scott Frost do? I honestly think he goes with the true freshman. And Willie Taggart, he's a guy that wants a guy that can be a pocket passer first, a runner second. That's DeAndre Francois. I think he's a better overall player than James Blackman, but I think this is going to be one tough competition. And then there's Miami. And Miami's got Malik Rozier. I think he's a clear-cut favorite. I'm not sure if that position battle is even really open, but you have N'Kosi Perry, Jaron Williams, then you have Cade Weldon, who's an old Florida State legend. So, Casey Weldon. So you're looking at really, this is going to be a spring of quarterback battles. I hope you guys enjoyed it. IronmanFootballBlog.com, Justin Ottavio, and thank you.